all set up to monitor cellular respiration. This is our LabQuest, so this is the equipment we actually use. The power button's right here, so we'll turn it on up here. And then we'll go to the LabQuest app, and this is the interface to actually look at the data that's being recorded. So we'll set this over here. This is the CO2 sensor, so when we insert it in the biochamber, it will measure carbon dioxide in the biochamber. And this is the oxygen sensor. You'll notice that it's in a container, so they'll always stay upright. If they're placed on their side, it can mess up the internal mechanisms. So just like the CO2 sensor, the oxygen sensor monitors or measures oxygen in the biochamber. Inside of the biochamber, we'll place either non-germinated peas, germinated peas, or insects, which are right here, beetles. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to calibrate the sensor and then how to set up the experiment. So we're going to go home right here, and then to System, Calibrate Screen, and then we'll tap each cross. Great. So now that it's calibrated, we'll go back to the home and back to the interface that we'll be using. I'm going to set this over here. We will load our samples, or specimens, into our biochamber. So I'll start with the germinated peas right here. So we can use our forceps. So now that we have our germinated peas in our chamber, we can go ahead and add our sensors. So I'll start with the CO2 sensor, which is right here. So in order to add that, we'll unscrew this area, unwrap the cord, and the CO2 sensor will go right in this opening right here. It's important to make sure that your carbon dioxide sensor is set to low. This means it's detecting carbon dioxide from 0 to 10,000 ppm. We then plug the cord into the side of the LabQuest right over here. And just keep in mind what channel you're plugging it into, because that'll correspond with which graph. So we just plug this into channel 1. So channel 1 is right here, and we know that this is CO2. It'll also say right next to the channel which monitor you're looking at. All right, next we'll do the oxygen. You want to remember while we're setting it up to always keep it upright. Again, we'll unwrap the cord. We'll place the oxygen sensor upright in the top opening and plug it into the side of your LabQuest. Cool. So now you'll see that both channels are visible on the screen. It'll say oxygen and CO2, and then here we have ppm, but right here the oxygen is reading as a percentage. So to change this, we'll just tap the oxygen, go to change units, and we'll place them in the same units just to make our lives a little bit easier. So the duration of this experiment is going to be 180 seconds. So we'll change the duration right here to 180. And the rate and the interval can both stay at 1. So we'll press OK. And then it's important to let these kind of calibrate now that we've turned them on. So we're just going to let this rest for maybe a few minutes so they can calibrate, and then